This is John Bystrom in Rockford, Illinois. It is June 24th, 2018. I'm here at the corner of Locust and Church Street in Rockford to just give a little account of what's just happened. I was given a call by somebody a few days ago that said there was flood relief for people who had been flooded in the latest disaster, the latest torrential rains in Rockford. But worse than that, the torrential rains didn't flood anybody else except us on my corner here. The two buildings that, or the building I live in, the building I own across the street, and the oldest house in Rockford next door. So the people across the street on North 2nd Street, those properties are at Market and North 2nd, and the properties across the street did not get flooded. And that's because they redid the flood, or they did the drainage a couple years ago, actually 10 years ago. And it was inadequate, and it flooded one other time before. So I came down here to humor the guy that called me, who was actually looking for an apartment. Claimed he was looking for an apartment. And so I came down here, and he told me that FEMA had money for people. So I came down, number one, to the Red Cross, which is right over here. Red Cross office is over here. So I went to the Red Cross, filled out the paperwork. There's the paperwork there, all the Red Cross and everything. So the Red Cross told me, "Oh no, we don't have anything. Here's a bucket of bleach and a squeegee, or a little sponge, not even a mop, just a sponge, little spongy thing. Yeah, here, go clean up a $10,000 damaged basement, and you can, we're the Red Cross and we're here to help." So we don't have anything here except for these token items. So why don't you go over to the Rockford Human Services, Rockford Community Human Services Division. So I come over to the address, which is 55 North Church Street. And when I get here, there's a sign on the door that says, "We've moved." Now, he could have told me that, but he's a government agency. He's got all day long to sit there and not tell me that. So I came over here, and there's a sign on the door that says, "They've moved." There's the sign. So like I say, instead of just telling me, "Hey, they've moved," or update their lazy paperwork, no, instead, "Hey, go here, we're going to send you on a steeplechase. First run over there, then run over here, then run over here, then run over there." So I come over here, and then I get another address to go to, which is now 612 North Church Street. So, okay, I drive my dented car over here. I didn't repark it. That's where I parked the first time. So I come over here to the great social services of the city of Rockford, which, as you know, is a hellhole and a half. So I get over here, and they send me over here, across the street. Of course, there's big long lines of people trying to get help from all kinds of different things. Yeah, go over here and they'll give you some help. So I go over there, and of course I wait in line. Finally I figure out the system. Okay, let's get in line. And I talk to the receptionist. She says, "Okay, well, you have to speak with this other lady." Okay, come on back here. Yeah, sit down at the desk. Yeah, we don't have any help for anyone. Now, they could have told me that at the receptionist, and we could have been cool. No, instead, she gives me a list and an appointment with the Baptist Church. Now, the insulting part of this is you got this compartmentalized charity system where you've got 10 different hands. Nobody's in charge. Nobody's really there to help you. It's a right to work system is what's going on here. But I'd like to give a historical perspective also. Since I'm exposing the Mormon Mafia here in my town, who has targeted me 40 years, with a partnership with the largest cocaine outlet, Concord Commons, who received a mortgage from my Mormon bishop, attorney, son-in-law of Dallin Oaks, next in line to be prophet of the Mormon Church. Back in 1929, when the stock market crashed and when the Depression started, people died from hunger, from starvation. We've since learned that that was all orchestrated by the Federal Reserve and by their corporate bankers, the usual suspects, the Rockefeller banks, the Goldman Sachs, but all Federal Reserve agents. In 1933, now people don't know this, in 1933, this is one of the roots of the Mormon Mafia, which is alive and well in Rockford, Illinois, and they are the cocaine, they're not traffickers, they are the cocaine launderers, and they take that money and then buy up real estate. And then they target goodly saints like me. This Mormon Mafia here in town, which is led by Jack Ward, who is the largest shareholder at Amcor Bank. Like I say, they've committed 7 frauds on me. So anyway, I began looking back in the roots of how is it possible that my Mormon leaders here in Rockford, that leads to the top of the Mormon Church, could be the most corrupt, satanic, wicked con artists who protect pedophiles? That's a whole nother angle that I can't even get into on this video. And you'll know the disgust when you know they troll the churches. They troll the churches for good-looking, innocent-looking female teenage cocaine couriers. This is my former Mormon bishop, the Mormon Mafia here in town. They troll your churches for people to defraud. There's about 30 of them here that have been defrauded. So let me get back to my point. The roots of American socialism is rooted in 1933, FDR, the New Deal, and the second Federal Reserve Chairman, Mariner Stoddard Eccles, who was a Mormon who perfected central banking in Utah, building railroad ties for the Union Pacific Railroad, which the Mormons built and got ripped off by Brigham Young, $1 million. They were never paid for connecting the two lines, the Union Pacific and the Central Pacific, coming from the west at Promontory Point, Utah. Mormons built that line, were never paid $1 million. The Mariner Stoddard Eccles family made a fortune in manufacturing the wooden ties for the railroad companies. Now, Union Pacific was a quasi-private corporation which was incorporated in 1862 during the Civil War, which was pretty much the beginnings of the military-industrial complex, which has pretty much taken over the world at that point. So the Mormon Mafia here in town, who is in bed with the local city of Rockford cartel, they control the gatekeepers at the U.S. Attorney's Office, who is John Lausch. John Lausch is an attorney with Kirtland & Ellis in Chicago. Jack Ward, the bishop, banker, attorney who's been targeting me for 40 years, his father-in-law, Dallin Oaks, is an attorney with Kirtland & Ellis in Chicago, where Dallin Oaks was a state's attorney when the Mormon Mafia was laundering cocaine with the Vatican Bank from 1959 to 1974, at least when they got busted. Well, they never. The American guys never got busted. It was only the Italian guys that got busted. So David Kennedy, who was the chairman of Continental Bank in Chicago, never had to face the music because, number one, he was protected by Dallin Oaks, who was a Chicago state's attorney in the Chicago crime machine, where Hugh Rodham took over Al Capone's operations back in the 30s. So, getting back to the roots of socialism in this country was started by top Mormon Mariner Stoddard Eccles, 1933, second chairman of the Federal Reserve, which is the satanic banking operation controlling all the wars in the past 100 years. They have 200 million deaths on their hands in the 20th century, and you know they're bucking for more. Well, my Mormon Mafia leads directly to the worst fascists that the world has ever known through the money trail of Union Pacific Bank. Mariner Stoddard Eccles made their fortune working and contracting, supplying the ties for Union Pacific Railroad. Mariner Eccles, when he took over the Federal Reserve, he helped FDR to alleviate, now quote unquote, alleviate the suffering of the Depression. What they did is create over 600 new social programs in order to gather information on everybody, not necessarily to help them, but to manage the poverty, if you're following this. Mariner Stoddard Eccles also helped create the International Monetary Fund, which has indebted every country in the world they step their dirty foot in. Also helped create the World Bank. So, why am I so interested in this? Well, because in 1972 I actually met a true prophet who told me to read a book called None Dare Call It Conspiracy, which I did at 12 years old. And I found everything in that book to be so true. And after 40 some years from reading that book and being targeted by the local Mormon Mafia, I got a lot to say because I helped start a newspaper called the Rock River Times to protect myself. And so far so good, but I don't have control over it, and I'm attempting to get control back. So the local Mormon Mafia, which includes bankers at Chase Bank, it includes accountants, it includes literally about 20 other leaders that goes to the stake presidency. The stake presidency in Rockford, Illinois, which is like the archdiocese of Rockford, is led by the son of the partner at Curtin McConkie in Salt Lake City, the top Mormon law firm that protects the pedophiles in the Mormon Church and also protects the money launderers in the Mormon Church. The son of Curtin McConkie, official Mormon Church attorneys, their partner is Dallin Oaks, the father-in-law of the cocaine launderer, which I allege here in Rockford, Illinois, who has targeted me for 40 years. Jack Ward's father-in-law, Dallin Oaks, is a gatekeeper at Curtin McConkie. So when I called over there it was about 5 months ago now, to let them know that you have a renegade cocaine cartel running under cover of the Mormon Church, they hung up on me twice. So if you think this goes to the top of the Mormon Church, you're right. It does. So the U.S. Attorney is a partner with Dallin Oaks at let me get all these names straight. Kirkland and Ellis in Chicago. CIA law firm. John Bolton, former U.S. and UN ambassador, now in the Trump administration, is a CIA boy from their office at Kirkland and Ellis in Chicago. And there's a whole roster of other CIA guys over there. So I'm caught in the middle here of literally the Bush-Clinton cocaine cartel that comes from Little Rock, Arkansas, where they murdered the two boys on the tracks. And according to the book by Ambrose Evans Pritchard, The Secret Life of Bill Clinton, the cocaine came to Rockford, Illinois. Well, I know exactly who it came to, because my Mormon bishop's bank, before it was closed down in 2010 for self-dealing and fraud, had a contract with Systematics, which is the CIA cocaine money laundering tool, out of Little Rock, Arkansas, written by Vince Foster, Webster Hubbell, and Hillary Clinton. Rockford, Illinois is a leg of the cocaine trafficking network in Illinois, which goes back to the Al Capone Prohibition days. This network of criminals in Rockford, Illinois, which control all the gatekeepers, mayors, sheriff, chief of police, you name it, they're all here. They're all protected by the cocaine cartel. And because there's no arrest, would lead you to believe that nobody's done anything wrong. Name me one CIA person, one CIA trafficker that's ever been arrested and went to jail. In the Iran-Contra hearings, Reagan's whole cabinet was convicted of trafficking. Ollie North was convicted of what he was doing. They all got pardoned by George Herbert Walker Bush, the top pedophile and human trafficker and drug trafficker the world has ever known. Behind much of the 200 million murders and assassinations, including China, Russia, South America, Europe, the drug money that has been laundered through Rockford and Chicago since 1959 pays for the terrorism in the world. During the 1960s and 70s, it paid for the democratic Christians in Italy and all over Europe, Poland. That was all paid for by cocaine, heroin money, an operation called Operation Gladio of CIA, which is run out of NATO. My Mormon leader, David Kennedy, who was my leader from Chicago back in the 60s, he had diplomatic immunity with NATO. That's why he was never prosecuted either, is because the money laundering that was coming out of Chicago and the Vatican Bank with Archbishop Paul Marcinkus, which included all of the Catholic donations from North and South America, all the Western Hemisphere, went through Chicago Continental Bank, the top money launderer for the CIA, caught in 1974 by the Italian authorities. Nothing happened to the Americans. So anyway, I'm going to sign out here. I had to get this little ditty up because these guys want to kill me, all right? And let me tell you, they can do it. So I'm making these videos to kind of impede that progress. If President Trump is listening, by God, if you get somebody over here, the guy that you appointed, John Lausch, works for the cartel, if you ask me, since his affiliation with the CIA is pretty obvious on the website of Kirkland and Ellis in Chicago. They're pretty proud of their CIA accomplishments. And when you consider that the U.S. attorney here in the Northern District of Illinois is paid $100,000, the attorneys at Kirkland and Ellis are paid millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. And you can guess on your own how those millions of dollars are accumulated. So, all right, I'm going to sign out here in Rockford, Illinois, exposing the Satanists who run Illinois in Rockford, who are in bed with the Mormon Mafia, my church leaders, about 20 of them. And they target about 40 other Mormons, including my own mother. I haven't even started on that one. They've targeted my mother, my sisters, my brothers, and my dad before he died of cancer in 2000. So, signing out, this is John Bystrom. Ciao.